From a technical standpoint, Just Cause 3 is one of the most impressive games we have seen running this generation. Sure, there have been the likes of The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, and Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, but the amount of stuff that is being rendered in Avalanche's over-the-top action-adventure game is beyond ridiculous at times. Before we jump into analyzing the performance across all three platforms, we wanted to talk a bit about the Avalanche Engine and how the developers have updated its destruction framework. Back during Just Cause 2, the developers used a technique called as mesh swapping, which allowed the engine to carry out limited destruction and swap the end effect with a static simulation. In simpler terms, the destruction in Just Cause 2 was not completely dynamic. However, the destruction framework in Just Cause 3 is coupled with Havoc's set of solutions which allow the designer to build each destructible object with a set of sub-objects, allowing for a more realistic simulation. Designers have more control over the destruction algorithm, but this also means that the man-hours invested increases exponentially. Not everything is destructible in Just Cause 3, but what can be destroyed is truly a sight to behold, and most of the times the subparticles obey the laws of physics, although things can get awry at times. What puts us in awe every time we play Just Cause 3 was the scale of destruction. Seeing massive objects such as fuel tanks and towering satellite dishes explode never gets old. Talking about the console versions, the PS4 runs at 1920 by 1080 resolution compared to the 900p resolution on the Xbox One. Due to this, the Xbox One suffers from inferior damage quality compared to Sony's console. Both versions use a form of a custom post-processing anti-aliasing solution, and the results are mixed. Jaggies can be seen across the world, and it's especially jarring when we see it on water surface. It seems that water tessellation solution is clashing with the post-processing AA solution, resulting into an uneven rendering, although we are not sure about this. Jaggies are more apparent on the Xbox One version due to its lower operating resolution, but overall we are not impressed with whatever custom solution Avalanche is using for smoothing the edges. The core assets, such as texture quality, are one-to-one across both platforms, with both versions suffering from shadow dithering with some form of ambient occlusion applied in some places. Draw distances and texture filtering too are similar on both the PS4 and Xbox One, but it unfortunately suffers on the latter, resulting into loss of details when observed closely. Just Cause 3 on consoles operates at a 30 frames per second cap, and although the engine does its hardest to maintain a consistent performance, drastic drops can be witnessed, especially during the explosions. The engine literally struggles to maintain 30 frames per second during these scenarios, but given the technical ambitions that Avalanche Studios were aiming for, it's no surprise that the CPUs of PS4 and Xbox One struggle to handle this level of physics simulation that Just Cause 3 utilizes. Surprisingly, the Xbox One holds itself better during such sequences, where on a broader level the performance is more or less the same on both consoles. The game's engine uses a procedural system of loading certain assets. For example, seeing the ground textures loading or unloading depending on the field of view of the player. It's not completely distracting and serves as a method for saving up memory. Now let us shift our focus on the PC version. We were pretty excited to get our hands on the PC version, given that Just Cause 2 ran extremely smooth on the world's biggest gaming platform. In terms of graphical settings, Just Cause 3 does not disappoint. The game comes packed in with several options such as water detail, water tessellation, better AA solution, global illumination, and detailed screen space reflections. Running the game on an Intel Core i7-5960X with 16GB of RAM, we tested the game with a GTX 980 Ti. This is obviously more than the recommended settings, and we had no issues running the game at ultra settings. However, there were a couple of oddities we noted. The asset streaming issue that is present on the console version is also visible on the PC platform, although it's less frequent. We also witnessed pop-in issues while gliding or driving a vehicle, although it's less compared to the console versions. Performance-wise, we faced no issues except a few drops during the explosive sections of the game. Even at the lowest setting, the game looks decent. By our approximation, the console versions are equivalent to the high settings of the PC version. It will be interesting to see how Avalanche Studios improves the performance of the console versions. We are assuming that future patches will fix the performance issues, but for now, PC is the best way to experience the studio's fantastic open-world action game.
If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. See you soon!
You shoot your guns, you pray at war, and they burn our homes.
Don't listen to him. We have to do this.
Got no choice. But I won't forget. The tanks are mine. You're going to town, man.
We'll serve them up on a plate.